This was a fucking nightmare. So, recently I made some new molds. You may have seen part 1 on how to make molds recently. But I wanted to test them, get some dice made, and I had an idea for dice themed around one of my players. Actually, I've had a few ideas themed around most of my players. Now, it was Monday when I had this idea, and an in-person session of D&D, we normally play online, scheduled for Sunday. I had just over 6 days to make all 6 of my players their own dice set. Set 1, quite possibly the easiest set, was for Nox, an owl person who was given a shadowy curse when they were young. Their go-to in combat is Chaos Bolt, so I wanted this represented as well. I poured a mixture of black and white resin with a holographic glitter-filled resin separating both of these colours. These look exactly how I wanted them to. The gold in the ink colour represents a future version of Nox they met, with the gold replacing the shadows that once were there. That being said, I kinda had a problem with bubbles in this set, and the D100 failed completely. Still a usable set, but I'll probably end up redoing them for the next in-person session. Set 2 is for Letty, a gnome ranger who's a high-ranking member of the Messenger faction in the War of the Dragon. She's a pet dragon of her very own, and a very nature-feeling vibe. So, I made a base resin with some copper liquid glitter. I found it gives a very dirty look. This set is also for my sister. That's important to mention as I still have some of her wedding flowers lying around. So I broke up some of the petals and added them to the mixture. The final dice is green because I did a dirty pour with pretty much every shade of green ink I own. Final dice were ink purple to represent my sister's obsession with the colour. To represent both the purple of her hair and the character's pet. This set was probably the second easiest to make. Set 3 was super fun. Glittertail was a pink and red centaur with an obsession with flowers. She owned a flower shop before she was kidnapped. I had the idea of a strawberry themed dice, with a bit more of a strawberries and cream look for the middle of the dice, to represent the red and pink of the character. I was super happy with these dice. I made them first. However, after 3 days, and 3 sets of dice later, remember I'm making all of these in 6 days, the dice still weren't set. I had used some older resin lying around that I thought I would just use up. Clearly, something went wrong because the dice didn't set. Terrible news in terms of my deadline, but it did give me a chance to fix something about the dice I wasn't happy with at all. They were for a character called Glittertail. Clearly not sparkly enough. So, version 2, with fresh resin, got a generous helping of the special glitter I keep. The numbers were ink pink because look at this character, at the pink! Set 4 was a work of genius. This is an idea that's been floating around in my head for a while. Ship in a bottle dice. Firstly, it's important you understand this character is called Orion Shipway. You run a bar out of a ship and is a master of the waves. We've had to set up an entire ship skill check just for them. These are dice I've kind of been dreaming about making, and this was the character to make them for. I used a Petri style to give the ocean a vibrant, chaotic look, giving it life and violence, while looking more like an artistic representation of the waves, rather than a one-to-one look, which at this scale I think would have been impossible to do. 3D printed some tiny ships and painted them a wooden brown. Now, my only regret in regards to these dice, I wanted a little sparkle in the clear portions of the resin, but I put too much glitter in. They're by no means ruined, but in the picture you can see it's a little heavy on the glitter side. Still an amazing set. Watching my players react to this definitely made it worth it. We'll be making ship in a bottle dice again. The bone white numbers was either to be interpreted as sand following our nautical theme, or to represent the bone dragon weapons he crafted from the fang of the great woodland worm. 4th most difficult dice to make, just in terms of how many steps were involved to get here. Set 5. Finally, a super simple set. Pretty much all purple because the character's a purple tiefling. So set 5 was for a new character to the game, a druid named Ingrid. She was trapped on Heart's End for over 100 years, though for her, only about a month passed. Honestly, this was a set I struggled with to come up with inspiration for. Few ideas rattled around in my head, but none of them fit well for the character. But finally, I came up with an idea of mini diorama dice to represent the land she's won with. I was pretty worried about this, as I'd never tried pouring resin with static grass before, but Layer 1 was filled with sterilised dirt. I then placed pre-made grass and flowers and all your sort of scenery stuff on that set layer. Covered it with transparent resin. I was terrified the grass was going to just trap tons of bubbles and look awful. It kind of just worked. There were no bubbles trapped. The grass, the flowers, they didn't float away. The dirt layer didn't drop on the sides, ruining the dice. So it turns out it's surprisingly easy to make diorama dice. That being said, because of all the unknowns and having not a lot of inspiration, this set was the second hardest to make. The final dice. This set, quite frankly, is the best dice I have ever made. And god damn it, I'm never doing it again. This is a dice I've wanted to make quite literally for years. It's a glitter ball dice. Once rolled, the glitter keeps spinning. This was a set for Eugene Ticker, a time wizard. When their friend was sent into the future, they turned themselves into a robot so they could wait out the years till their friend returns. This dice perfectly encapsulates the loss and loneliness of this character. They can't even remember what their original race was. The amount of empty, clear space, with the almost dull, dark grey ink colour, represents the loss perfectly to me, while the spinning glitter core really shines this magical hope through. It's a combination of a mint green and steel black mica powder that gives it an eerie, ethereal look. I am so happy with how the set turned out. And it was hands down the biggest pain to make. Firstly, I had to get the glass out of the bag, which was full of broken glass as some of the glass balls were broken on arrival. I had to fill the hole with mica powder, which is the devil's glitter. It wants to get everywhere and it wants to be inside your lungs, eyes and back of throat. So please, if you're doing this, use every form of PPE on the planet while working with this stuff. It's awful. Then I had to fill them with water, but normally I had to wipe down the excess glitter because getting the mica into the ball was really hard. Once it was clean and filled with water, I had to seal it with UV resin. Then I had to do that 8 times. I looked this player in the face, called them the problem child, and told everyone I'm never making glitter ball dice ever again. But honestly, I miss having one to play with on my desk, so never again might actually be coming soon. And with that, I'm done. I finished the dice at around 5 AM on Sunday, the day of the session, so that's why there hasn't been a ton of footage. But we're finally onto the beauty shots. Out you come, my pretties. It's to the Etsy store with you.